We're gonna attempt to change the oil pressure sensor on a 2010 Chevy Silverado 1500 5.3 liter V8. I already took the cover off, as you can see, and the problem with this is that it's got this here, which the back of it right there, it gets stuck on the cover and it's hard to slide it out this way. It's got two pegs that the cover sits on, so you just lift it up just like this. So you just lift it up and then you got to put your hand down there and push on that plastic, this one right here, and you push it down. See how it's moving down? Because that's what's holding the cover. You push it down and then the cover comes out. Now the pressure switch is all the way down there. It's all the way down there. If you see, there is this blue cap with the white side slide. Now when you want to pick up that cap, what you have to do is you got to slide that white cap, the slider, up about in 1/8 of an inch, not very much. Just slide this up, and in the middle of that, white, there's a little lever that you got to push it in, and then you pull the whole cap up. It's a very tight space in there, so let's get to it. Yes, we're getting inside, of course, the engine. It's the only way you can get in there. Now, but I also find out that you got to remove some things to get it out of your way. So this is going to be the first thing that I'm going to move it out of the way, which is going to be right there. And there's a lever right here. So the lever is right here, and you got to kind of push it in like this, and then grab it and pull it out. So once it's out, you can move this out of the way, like so. Okay. And now you have more room to put your hand in there. Now, like I said, this is very little room to spare. Now there's a harness like this over there. I found out that instead of going behind it like this and grab the switch, I put the harness between my fingers like this, and then I can reach and grab things out. So that's what I'll do back there. Of course I cannot show you because my camera will not fit in there, but I'll try to do my best to show you how it's done. So put my fingers in there, grab it. First I got to slide that slider, the white slider, up. Then with my middle finger, how iconic, I'll press in the middle and yank on that, and of course it's like coming out today. You gotta make sure the white slider is up. Of course. And this is a real time. There it is. So now it's out. You can see I got this out. Good job. Gotta pat myself on the shoulder. So far, no cuts yet. Now, we need a socket, which is 1 1/16, and I'll show you the tools in a minute, the ones I'm going to use on this. I just wanted to show you this plug because nobody mentions it anywhere, and I know I had a horrible time. I almost broke it. So when you look at this, and I know there's not enough space in here, here's that white slide that you got to move up, of course, right? You move this up, which is not much, and of course it's stuck now. Not a left-handed person. Do it again. So you slide this up like that, and then you press on this black thing here. So you press on this after you slide this up, of course. Right here, right in the middle, there's a lever. You press on it and they'll release it when you're lucky. This is my setup here. As you can see, right here I got a lever, brake bar, because it was stuck a little bit. Without it, I was not able to loosen it up. But once it's loosened up, it comes out really easy. You can see I got this whole thing here. So let me take this out to show you. So this is pretty much my setup right here. So I got my swivel, little extension, and this thing here is about, I would say, 3 inches. Got my reducer, and then I got my swivel, and this is a deep socket, 1 1/16. Okay, it's right here. It's upside down though, but it's 1 1/16. So now hopefully, once it's broken and loose, I can get in there. I hope I find that later. Get in there and unscrew it by hand, which is very easy to do once it's broken because it's an NPT thread. So there it is. Oh, there it is. Okay. Now for next step, we got to fish out the little net, not net. So I found another way to utilize that cover. Hold your tools so you don't lose them in the engine like I just did, and I still can't find it. So gotta look for it. Anyway, we need to get one of these guys, and I don't know which one's gonna work yet because I didn't do it yet, but I'm gonna try to fish out that screen that's inside there. And from the internet I find out that that screen is also a problem. It gets clogged sometimes with metal shavings, which they shouldn't be there if all the parts in the engine were done correctly and cleaned correctly before assembly. But we'll see when I get it out. So let's get to it. So here it is. Of course I lost it, okay. Fall right in, and my tool fall right in, and if we look down here somewhere, probably, yeah, see, it's right there. So it all fell right through. But let's get back to what we got here. So this is the little screen, and if you can see this, that's disgusting. So my assumption is going to be, if I just change the switch, it's not going to help me very much, because the air pressure, it's not going to go through this. so I'm gonna have the wrong reading on it again. But anyway, since I'm there, I'll clean this up and I'll install the new pressure switch, which I think this one is still good, but I'm not gonna take chances since I didn't cut myself yet, and this job is going pretty smooth so far for most of the parts. I still gotta get that wrench out of that engine over there, but anyway, let's clean this out and reinstall it. So I'm just gonna show you the after I clean this. It's nice and clean and you can see through, right? Okay, and I just sprayed it with the brake cleaner and blow it with the compressed air, and now it's clean. The O-ring looks good, no cuts, no shavings on that, and we're gonna put it together now. So now we got the new one right here, and we're gonna try go ahead and put it in there. Yes, I'm trying to do everything at once, but I don't think I can. We're gonna do a blindfold. This is pretty much what you gotta do here, a blindfold, and we'll see where we get with that. Okay, so the switch is in, or sensor, however, whoever's gonna call this. Now, here's my setup again, and like I said, when I was taking it out, all I had to do was break it and then just, you know, unscrew it by hand. But going in was a little bit harder, simply because there's a Loctite on the threads. So this Loctite here, it's like in the front of the threads. So as you're screwing it in, it gets harder, so you cannot screw it by hand. You got to use your ratchet, small ratchet if possible, and you got limited movement in there, so that's why it takes a little bit longer to screw it in. And once you get it to the bottom, you got those little spring washers, which they don't have a lot of spring in it, but once you tie it down, just make sure you give it a little notch, and that should be it. I cannot put obviously the torque wrench in there to see how much torque I got on this, but the other thing is, before this was like this in the engine with this latch on this side, which was really hard because you gotta lift that white slide, and you gotta press in the middle of it, and then you gotta yank the whole cap off. Now the new installation, it's in this position, so I think it's going to be easier because now I'll pull the latch up and then I can press it like this and hold my cap and move it up like so. Yes, I had a lot of training moving things with a couple fingers and holding things with the other two, but that's what you got to do if you want to work on stuff like this. You got to be very versatile. You got to pretty much work with your fingers all the way around. So, hey, and look at this. Still can use my middle finger. Just a side note. Thank you. Well, you might ask why I did this. Well, the reason is simple. This little gauge right here, first, a day or two, it was going a little bit up and down, up and down, and then just a day ago it went all the way down when I was stuck in the traffic, and I got this alarm. The engine, check engine light went on, and there was a little message here, shut off the engine. So I did in the middle of the traffic, but I didn't hear any noises from the engine or anything like that. Of course, dummy me. I started again, and voila, the gauge went back up, So I drove home, but the pressure was going down on the gauge. Didn't hit quite zero, but it was going down. So when I researched this on the internet, everybody pointed out to that switch, which makes sense because I drove for a day and the engine doesn't make sound. The pump was good, everything was working fine. Just that little switch caused all this problem. And I really don't think it was the switch. I think it was just the dirt and gunk on that screen. But once you're there, might as well change the switch. This way it's going to be good. You see, I have over 60,000 miles on this truck, so it'll be probably good for another 60,000 miles. And now it's all nice. It's holding at 40. It's not going down. With the old switch and the dirty screen, it would be below 40 already, and it would be climbing down. Of course, if I press on gas, yeah, the pressure is going to raise up a little bit, but it's going to keep at 40. And that's where it should be. I think we fixed it. Thanks for watching.